Let's be honest, trying to run a business these days can feel like you're navigating a massive storm. You've got all these questions coming at you at once. How do you grow? How do you keep your best people from jumping ship? And how do you make all this new technology actually work for you? It's a lot. Today, we're going to take a look at a framework for tackling this by diving into the approach of a company called Mindwrks. So let's see how they handle some of the biggest challenges business leaders are facing right now.
You know, in today's world, if you're standing still, you're actually falling behind. Every business leader is at this constant crossroads, making these huge decisions that are going to shape the future of their company. The ground is literally shifting under our feet. So what are the big, fundamental questions that are really keeping leaders up at night? Okay, first up, and this is a big one. Your company is growing fast, which is awesome, right? But the danger is that the very culture that made you so successful in the first place starts to get watered down. So how do you bring on new people and expand your operations without losing that special spark that makes you, you? And then there's the never-ending battle to keep your best people. Look, losing a key team member isn't just a hassle. It's a massive blow to your momentum, to all that knowledge they have in their head, and yeah, to your bottom line. So the real question is, how do you build a place where your top talent actually wants to stay and grow with you?
And you have to be looking ahead, right? The leaders who got you here are amazing, but they might not be the same ones who can get you to that next level. And that's not a knock on them. It's just the reality of growth. So how do you start building a leadership team that's ready for the challenges of tomorrow, not just today?
So answering these questions is, well, it's tough. And sometimes you need a different perspective. This is exactly where a company like Mindwrks comes in. They position themselves not just as a consultant who gives you a report and leaves, but more like a partner, a co-pilot, who's in it with you for the journey. So what's their whole deal? Well, Mindwrks calls itself a next-generation technology partner, but here's the key. It's all about their 3 pillars: people, process, and technology. Their whole philosophy is that you can't just fix one of these in a vacuum. They all have to work together. They have to be totally integrated. And this vision statement really tells you what you need to know. It's not just about selling services. It's about finding and unlocking the potential that's already there inside a company's team and its systems. The goal here is a long-term thing, all focused on creating real, sustainable growth. This brings us right to their core philosophy. I mean, how do they actually do it? How do they unlock all that potential? Well, it all comes down to a really simple but incredibly powerful idea that connects those 3 pillars into one big engine for growth. And here's the formula right here. It's pretty straightforward, isn't it? Growth isn't just some random thing that happens because you hired a star player or bought a new piece of software. Real sustainable growth is what you get when you perfectly align your talent, your business transformation efforts, and your technology. When those 3 things are singing in harmony, that's when the magic happens. Now, this is what that formula looks like in today's tech world. It's a holistic approach, right? It sees the cloud, your apps, and your data not as separate IT projects, but as one combined force. And what's really interesting is what they put right in the middle of it all, Gen AI. They use it as the catalyst to spark smarter decisions and way faster innovation across the entire business. Okay, so theory is great, but let's make this real. Check out their VISTA framework for hiring. This shows you how they put their ideas into practice. It's not just about slapping a job description online. No, it's this deep, 5-step process to make sure they find the perfect person. They literally visit the office, talk to everyone involved, dig deep into what the role really is, and analyze the tasks, all before the search even begins. It's a much smarter way to hire, and it's designed to avoid those costly mistakes. So with that philosophy as the bedrock, what does Mindwrks actually do for companies? Let's take a quick look at the specific solutions they offer to make this whole vision of integrated growth a reality. First up is people advisory. This is all the human stuff. And it's not just about moving boxes on an org chart. We're talking about intentionally designing a company where people can thrive. Everything from building clear career paths that make your best people want to stay, to developing your next generation of leaders, and even finding those crucial C-level execs to steer the ship. Next, of course, is the technology pillar that powers it all. This starts with building a rock-solid foundation with things like cloud and cybersecurity. But then it's about layering on that competitive edge with advanced tools. We're talking about things like agentic AI, which can create autonomous systems to handle complex tasks, and even immersive tech like AR and VR for things like training. Pretty cool stuff. And the third piece of the puzzle is learning and development. This is all about building up the skills you already have inside your company. It's how you future-proof your entire workforce. It can be anything from one-on-one coaching for executives to big, structured programs like their MHR/AHR certification, or even finishing schools designed to get new grads ready for the real corporate world.
All right. So we've looked at the problems businesses face, the integrated philosophy to solve them, and the specific solutions. Now, let's just wrap up by talking about the credibility and the forward-looking vision that really holds this whole thing together.
First things first, experience. This is not some startup that's just figuring things out as they go. The team behind this has more than 30 years of deep IT and business experience. And that's across a ton of different, really demanding industries, from finance to healthcare. That is a huge well of knowledge to draw from.
And all that experience, well, it's built a pretty serious track record. When the biggest companies out there are trusting you with their absolutely critical IT systems, the stuff that has to work, that speaks volumes about how reliable and expert they are.
But they're definitely not just resting on their laurels. The focus is always on what's next. The whole message here is that the work they're doing today, especially with cutting-edge tools like Gen AI, is all about building a smarter, more efficient, and just plain better tomorrow for the companies they work with.
I love this line. It sums up their values so perfectly. The idea is simple. Let business leaders focus on what makes their business special, their core mission. Mindwrks steps in and handles all the other complex but absolutely critical stuff, the talent, the transformation, the tech, and they treat it with the focus and passion as if it were their core business, because for them, it is.
And that really brings us to the final question, which is actually for you. In a world that is always changing, real, lasting growth doesn't just happen by accident. It has to be designed. It has to be engineered. By deliberately aligning your people, your processes, and your technology, you can build something truly special. So the question is, how are you going to engineer your company's future?